Joshua chapter 1, beginning at verse 1. Joshua 1, verse 1. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke to Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, saying, Moses, my servant is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving to them, the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon I have given you, as I said to Moses, from the wilderness and this Lebanon as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and to the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your territory. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not leave you, nor forsake you. Many of you have heard me say many times that I want everything that God has for me. And I thank God for everything that He has done for me in my life. But you knew that was coming, did you? But I want more. I read that there are 3,573 promises in the Bible. Now, I didn't spend this last week counting them, okay, just so you know that. But I want every one of those active in my life. I want everything God's got for me, so all of those promises in the book, in this Bible, are mine. And you might think that, Pastor, you're a little selfish. But if wanting what God has for me means I'm selfish, then so be it. So here we have the nation of Israel. Moses had led them out of Egypt. And I want you to notice another word or words that I want to use here. I want to insert them into the scripture. He led them out of captivity, out of bondage, and out of slavery. And now, Moses is dead. And it says the Lord spoke to Joshua and told him, Arise, go over Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving you. Joshua has always been in a support role. He was Moses' assistant for probably somewhere around 50 years. How would you like to just be an assistant for all that time in your life? And now God says, Joshua, it's your time. It's your turn. I want you to step up to the plate. How would you feel if you were in Joshua's shoes? God's telling you He wants you to be the leader of about 1 million plus people. Anyone anyone ready to step up to the plate on that one? How would you react? I think I just figured that one out. I often talk about Abraham going on a journey. God telling him to go to a place that I'm going to show you. In other words, you're going to know about it when you get there, that's the place I want you to go to. Is anyone ready for that one? That kind of a journey. To me, that's a step of faith. God says, I want you to pack everything up. You're going somewhere, and I'm going to show it to you. You're going to know when you're there when you get there. So here God's telling Joshua, I want you to lead 1 million plus people. And in this case with Joshua, God tells him where he's going and what he wants him to do. But still, going from a support role to a leadership role, how would you feel if you were Abraham? And then think about how you would feel if you were in Joshua's shoes. I want to reflect back to the time I spoke about the prayer of Jabez. Praying that God would expand your territory. Now, I'm not talking about land, but praying that God would expand your territory. Praying that He would enlarge your area of influence. God will do that. But here Joshua didn't pray that. God just said, Joshua, it's time. It's time for me to use you in a greater way. Now, with that in mind, are you ready for that? So how are you feeling about that? Are you feeling a little overwhelmed? Thinking that, man, now I've got to be the leader over this great amount of people, over the nation. God, I don't have any training for that. God, you've got to put me through, the school of leadership before I can step up to the plate of that. How do you think you'd feel? A little fearful? A little, not just a little, but very hesitant? Think, God, you've got the wrong person here. Think of it like this. Life as you know it has been turned upside down. I'm not connecting to the internet. That's okay. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say it. Life as you know it. Your life has been turned upside down. And do I dare ask, how many of you have had your lives turned upside down somewhere in life? I want to see some. Okay, just about it. I'd say everyone. Maybe your life got turned upside down because maybe you've been in an accident. Maybe a friend or even yourself had a serious health issue. Maybe you lost your job or had or are having serious financial setbacks. There's any number of things that can happen in your life that just turn things around all of a sudden. When the nation of Israel's life was turned upside down because of their leader dying, God gave them 4 words of instruction. Those 4 words are be strong and courageous. And you might sit back and say, God, are you really telling me that? Be strong and courageous? You may be sitting there thinking to yourself, Pastor, you really don't know what you're saying because you don't know what I'm going through in my life. But let me reassure you with this. God knows. And He's the one who spoke those words to the nation of Israel and to Joshua. Those words, be strong and courageous. In other words, don't buckle under the pressure. Stand up to it. God never leaves you alone. Stand up. Be courageous. He knows what you're going through. I may not know. I don't need to know what you're going through. But God knows what you're going through. And in spite of your fears, in spite of those circumstances in your life, in spite of whatever setbacks you may have, this is what I want you to do. Arise, get up, and cross the Jordan River. And I want you to go into the land that I'm giving you. I gave Moses a promise, and now that promise is for you also. Now here's the promise in Joshua chapter 1, verse 3. every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, I have given you, just as I have promised Moses. He promised it first to Moses, but now I am passing that promise on to you.
I think that's, yeah.
Food has an expiration date. I just wanted to get your mind on food for a second. Food has an expiration date, but God's promises don't. God's promises do not have an expiration date. His promise does not expire. Even though Moses is dead, my promise to you is still there. And I want to step away from my notes just for a minute. Do any of you has God given you something to be thinking about where you feel like God has promised you something? It's okay. We're dialing in this morning. We're really dialing in. Has God given you something you begin to think of it? God, have you forgotten that promise? Have you forgotten what you told me that you wanted me to do, that you were going to help me to do? God does not forget His promises that He gives you. When God told Joshua to go into the promised land, they knew the land was occupied. But God promised them the land. So how are we supposed to take this land if it's already occupied? That means that there's going to be battles in your life. Do you remember when they sent the 12 spies into the land? Just 40 years prior to this time. He said, there were giants in the land. The Israelites knew what they were going to be facing. They knew they were going to have to fight to get what that promise was for them. Likewise, you and I are going to have battles in our life. But when God gives you that promise, everywhere the sole of your foot shall tread, I have given you. Never forget it, because God says He will do what He's promised. It gives me the assurance and the confidence to go in and claim what God has promised me. I find great comfort as I fight battles in life. When I read scriptures like Isaiah chapter 43, verses 1 to 3, it says, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they will not overflow you. When you walk through the river or through the fire, you shall not be burned. Many of our trials in life seem like we're being burned, or seem like that we're drowning with the situations that we face. When your life gets turned upside down, it feels like you're not going to be able to make it. But He says, I will walk through that with you. I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm going to walk through with you. I like to use the saying that when you go through fire, or when you're going through hell, don't stop. When you're going through hell, don't stop. Don't dwell there. Don't stop there. Keep going. If you stay there, you are going to get burned. But you keep going, God will lead you through. When you go through trials, you can overcome whatever you face. Do you remember the first battle that the nation of Israel had to fight when they went into their promised land? It was called the Battle of Jericho. You've heard that song, Joshua fought the Battle of Jericho. You've heard that song. Jericho was at the entrance to the promised land. And most people know that story of Jericho, how the Israelites marched around the walls. For 6 days, they marched around the walls once every day. And on the seventh day, they marched around it 7 times. And on the 7th time, the people shouted, the trumpets were blown, and the walls came down. Talk about a march of faith. Now I just want you to picture a little bit of this journey here at Jericho. How do you think the people in Jericho were looking at the people as they're marching around the walls? Bunch of crazy people there. You Christians, you're a bunch of crazy people. Sometimes God asks us to do things. May not seem like it's the way we would think that they should be done. Right? But when God speaks and tells you to do something, that's what we need to do. And at just the right time, when Israel obeyed what God told them to do, the walls fell down. No warfare will be won by walking around a city except that God directs it. No shots were fired. And as you think of the Battle of Jericho, I'm reminded of another scripture found in Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 8 and 9. And I'm going to just give you my simplified version of that. It says, God's ways are not my ways. God doesn't necessarily think the same way you and I think. How many times have you been given a job and you go to do that job and somebody tells you, no, you can't do it that way? Okay? God's ways are not my ways. If it was my choice in this battle, I wouldn't have told them to walk around those walls. I don't want to get laughed at. But that's what God told them to do. We often say, I wouldn't fight a battle like that, or I would do it like this if I was God. You're not God. When you look at the situations that you face in life, and you say, my bills are too much to ever be able to pay off. Or, the doctor says there's no hope. I have been told by people, Craig, don't give anyone hope where there's no hope. I want to tell you something. My God can do all things, or I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm not going to give anyone false hope because I know my hope is in Christ. You will never walk into your God-given promise with that kind of talk. With the talk that people say there's no hope. So don't put restrictions on what God can do in your life. Because of what the experts say. Experts know the natural way. Be an expert in how God thinks. God said we are more than conquerors. Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Joshua chapter 1, verse 5, I will not leave you nor forsake you. If you're going through something, you feel all alone, God says, I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm going to go through that trial with you. I'm going to go through that fire with you. I'm going to be there with you through that time in your life. And every place the sole of your feet will tread, I have given you. In other words, you're going to be able to overcome that situation. I'm not satisfied with being an overcomer in some things. I want to conquer everything that comes my way. I want to see every person, every sick person healed when I pray for them. I want to see everyone living in God's promises. All 3,000 some odd of those promises? And if that's what you want, then I want to share this encouragement that God gave Joshua just one more time. Verse 6 of chapter 1, it says, be strong and of good courage. Verse 7, be strong and very courageous. And here it also tells us to observe all the law and don't let God's law depart from you. And then again in verse 9 it says, be strong and of good courage. You think God was trying to get a point across? Actually, 4 times in Joshua chapter 1 it says, be strong and very courageous. Be strong and of good courage. When some of you read Joshua chapter 1 verse 3, where it says again, every place that the sole of your feet will trod, I have given you. For some of you that may mean getting a job. For some of you that may mean God providing a way for your bills to be paid. For others it may mean mending relationships that needed to be mended a long time ago. Others it may mean giving you boldness to share your faith with someone. So let me ask this question to you. Do you have any giants in your life that you want to see conquered? Maybe your life is occupied, that land of your life is occupied with addictions. Areas that you can't conquer on your own. But you need God's strength to see you through. God has promised you you can overcome those places in your life. You can conquer those places in your life. We need to be strong and courageous, as God will see you through. I'd like you to bow your heads.